How's it going, everyone? I'm Jakejames Lugo, and welcome to the channel, where you'll find some of the most fair and honest game reviews out here. And we're checking in with everybody's favorite pink puffball, Kirby, with one of his more recent adventures, jumping over a couple console generations since we last checked in with him. I'm talking about Kirby Star Allies for the Nintendo Switch. Now, I know I haven't gone to this for quite some time, it's been out for a while, but I wanted to know, is Kirby Star Allies any special? How can anyone not love Kirby? I mean, seriously, look at the little pink puffball. Don't you just want to give him a cuddle? Now imagine that same feeling, but add in all of Kirby's friends and allies, and you pretty much have a good idea of what's going on here. Kirby Star Allies for the Nintendo Switch is the 16th mainline entry of the series. Whoa, thinking about it now, that's a whole lot of Kirby over the years. But what makes this game significant was how it was developed during the 25th anniversary of the franchise, which makes sense because there's a lot of references in it. Because Kirby Star Allies is on the Switch, the visuals of the game really stand out, especially with how everything on screen is spread out nicely and looks clean. So the story here is another simple and cutesy plot that has the pink puffball trying to save Planet Popstar from a new threat. A dark crystal heart explodes atop of a space station and drops dark hearts onto the planet, causing the planet's inhabitants to get possessed and turn evil. The Dark Hearts themselves are called Jamba Hearts, which Kirby finds out are coming from the Jambastion space station, under the rule of a Dark Priest called Highness and his 3 generals. Highness is trying to revive a being called Void Termina to take over the galaxy. Kirby needs to team up with his friends and allies to stop Highness before things go dark for everybody on Planet Popstar. Using the power of friendship is the cornerstone of this game, which has Kirby and nearly all of his allies from the entire series coming together to save everyone, teaming up with new abilities and powers that you may have not seen before. If you've been a Kirby fan all of this time, then you're going to love how much reverence this game puts on display for the entirety of Kirby's legacy. So I really like the visuals of this game. Everything looks so colorful, everything looks so shiny, it looks really freaking good. Kirby and his friends, as you're watching them waddle along every single stage, they look so cutesy, they look so cuddly, they look so good overall. You just want to pick them up and give them a nice hug and feel all warm and toasty inside. I love that, and it fits in line with the rest of the other Kirby games we looked at this channel, but still, everything, especially for the modern day on the Nintendo Switch, looks so freaking good. At the same time, however, the story itself is very shallow, it's very simplistic, it's not anything more spectacular than what we've already seen with other Kirby games. It kind of just strings everything along the way it should. You're not really looking for anything too intricate or complicated when you're playing a Kirby game, and for that, I can't really harp on it too much. However, I will say I do love the entire cast and the roster of characters, not just the ones that you can ally up with, but all the different ones you run into, the enemies, some of the boss characters, everything just looks and feels so good. The other thing I should mention too, which I really appreciate it because I've been playing the Kirby games for so long, all the references that this game has to many other previous Kirby games. And I'm not just talking about the Dreamland games, I'm talking about Squeak Squad, I'm talking about Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, Kirby's Dream Land 3 on the SNES, Nightmare in Dreamland. Like, there's so many other references that you'll just like spot little things here and there. Like, I remember one of the stages I was playing and I saw one of the members of the Squeak Squad, there's like a little graffiti thing of him, and I was like, oh, I recognize that. But there's a lot of that throughout the entirety of the game, even down to the music. For whatever reason, the developers of this game decided to inject a lot of classic and even remixed music from classic Kirby games. So if you've been playing this series for a long time, you're going to notice all these things and you're going to have a really great time. So with all of that to the side, let's get into the gameplay because there's some interesting stuff to cover in here, especially again, if you've been playing all these Kirby games up to this point, you're going to like what you see here. If there's one thing I love about the Kirby games, it's how good they feel to control them. I really like how smooth and simple it is to get around each stage in Kirby Star Allies, either alone or with some friends. That's another thing about this game, you could play with 4 other players throughout the whole main adventure. While I didn't do this from my own experience, the fact that it's an option is pretty neat. But regardless of how you play, you're going to be teaming Kirby up with many other characters you run into. Kirby can throw a heart at an enemy and turn them into an ally, allowing them to use their abilities to fight other baddies and open up new pathways within a stage. There's so many combinations of allies you could find, letting you switch up your party on the fly as you explore the area around you. Now here's where things get super interesting. You could combine different powers and abilities from your allies for various situations. Kirby's copy ability grants him different powers as usual, but then you can add in a different element from an ally to make his attacks even stronger, or even interact with the stage to open up new areas and remove obstacles. It's a very neat way to keep the collaboration going between everybody. This is especially helpful during boss battles, where everyone can be powered up and help each other out. Of course, the difficulty isn't too high, but the game will occasionally sneak up on you if you aren't paying attention. There's a difficulty spike towards the end of the game, but the game is still lighthearted and easygoing most of the time. To be frank, you honestly can't get through each stage without picking up a few friends along the way. Luckily, the game never punishes you for not doing so, but you'll need a full group of people in order to get through some of the obstacles that are there. Overall though, I'm happy with how everything turned out. It's a joy to get through each level and reach the end of every single stage every single time. So I do have to say, I really enjoy that there's so many characters in here that you can mix and match your party members with. I think that it's really cool just seeing all these different characters from all over the place, whether it's the baddies you run into, the different classic Kirby characters, or even legacy characters from other Kirby games that you could get at the Dream Palace using the Dream Rod. I think it's awesome just seeing characters that you could pull from Planet Robobot, the Squeak Squad, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. All these different Kirby games have all these characters you could team up with, and you can mix and match different combinations for various abilities, including the team abilities. The team abilities I think are really cool because they allow you to do different things as an entire group. There's a lot of cooperation between all of you, whether you're actually getting together and rolling around going through obstacles, whether you're forming a bridge to get like a certain character from one spot to the other, or even just forming a choo-choo train where you're running through the majority of the stage together. It's really fun, it's really goofy, really cutesy, and it makes so much sense and works well within the Kirby universe. I was having a great time every single moment I was engaging with this. The one nitpick I do have is with the Dream Palace itself. I do wish there was a couple more extra characters in there from other Kirby games. Granted, there's a whole lot to choose from, so I know I'm being a little nitpicky here, but it's just great to see that this game has such a reverence for the legacy of the franchise. Like, you're just bringing all these characters from all these games. Why not throw the rest of them in there? Throw in the kitchen sink if you have to, because everything seems to be working out so well. Something else I should mention, and this is something I brought up in my previous Kirby game reviews, the difficulty spike. At the very end, or pretty much like right at like towards the last couple stages, there's a big spike in difficulty. This seems to be a common problem for all the Kirby games in the entire franchise. I don't know why that is. Granted, post-game stuff tends to be a little bit more difficult, but in the main game itself, even with Star Allies, you just get this big difficulty spike in certain stages, even with some of the boss fights. It's not impossible, but the spike is definitely noticeable. And speaking of post-game stuff, let's talk about the bonus content in Kirby Star Allies, because there's stuff here, but it might not be in the same way handled as other previous Kirby games. Per tradition, Kirby Star Allies has some extra modes that can open up once you finish the game. There are a few things you could do without finishing the main adventure though, but you'll still want to reach the end credits in order to see everything that the game has to offer. In one mode, you could play an abridged version of the main game using just ally characters, allowing you to put together a team and run through about 5 stages. It's pretty much the same thing as the main game, only shorter and probably best suited for multiplayer sessions. There's also the Ultimate Choice, a boss rush mode that lets you and your friends take on every boss within the game. And finally, Heroes in Another Dimension is a much harder version of some of the stages and bosses within the game too. If you manage to finish this on every difficulty setting, then you can unlock the 3 Mage Sisters as bonus allies for other modes. But that's not all. There are a few mini-games that you can play either alone or with some friends. Though I won't lie, they each feel like something you could find in a Mario Party game, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Chop Champs has everyone cutting down trees and seeing who could chop up the most wood and the fastest, while also letting you fling Gordos at each other. It's a chaotic mode that is pretty fun with other people. The other one is Star Slam Heroes, a home run derby where you hit a meteorite back into space and see who goes the farthest. Nothing more or less. These mini games are fun, but you won't be spending too much time with them. You also don't get any rewards for playing them either. There's definitely some stuff here to enjoy, but I wish that everything had some more unlockables just for engaging with them. While there are other modes you can engage with once you finish the main game, there is no additional stuff beyond that. I mean, you do get these like jigsaw puzzles where you're collecting these little jiggy pieces throughout every single stage, and they make these different pictures that are based on legacy moments from Kirby games. I think that's totally fine. You get to see a lot of different stuff, but there is no Meta Knight mode like in the previous titles. This is something that's very noticeable for fans if you've been playing all these Kirby games over the years. I mean, granted, I should say, you're already getting so much content in here already with all the characters, all the other bonus modes I mentioned. On top of that, all this stuff could be played in co-op with up to 4 people, which is totally great. I mean, you're getting a lot of stuff here already, so you can't really complain that you're not getting stuff that we've seen in previous titles. It's not that much of a loss because we've already gained so much already with all this stuff. So, my fellow Star Warriors, what's the verdict on this one? Can I recommend that you play Kirby Star Allies for the Nintendo Switch? Yeah, I could definitely say that this was another fun Kirby game you should check out. Even though I wish that there were some more unlockables here, I can't deny that I had a fun time going through the main game. I really liked the visuals and the overall presentation, and I also like the team-up moves that you could do with your allies. For anyone that's played the series before, you'll be happy to know that this is another successful outing for the Pink Puffball. Go grab yourself a copy for the Nintendo Switch when you can, and check in on what's happening with Kirby and the rest of his great friends. And there you go, everyone. Those are my thoughts about Kirby Star Allies for the Nintendo Switch. This game is good. This game is fun. This game is cutesy. It's cuddly. Again, how can you not love the Pink Puffball here? Like, you just want to pick him up and just squish him, right? But overall, his games, every single time I've played them, they've been pretty good with a few exceptions here and there. But the majority of my time spent playing the Kirby series has been enjoyable. I like them. I think that more people should play them. Don't let their very cutesy demeanor really fool you. Don't think that just because it's something as cuddly as this little puffball that you can't have a great time playing through them, even though they're not super difficult. But as always, with any game that I review on this channel, that's just my opinion about Kirby Star Allies. Let me know your own thoughts about this game down below in the comment section. Tell me, are you a big Kirby fan? What are some of your favorite Kirby games out of the entire franchise? What are some other Nintendo mascots that you feel like should get a little bit more love, you know, because they're always in the shadow of like Mario, Zelda, and all these other games? Talk to me about that stuff down below in the comment section. Hey, thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it enough to check out some of my other videos I'll list here on the side in just a moment. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel to see new content that I post up as it goes out. You can also join my Patreon for early access to new videos and exclusive content you'll only see over there. Don't forget to join my Discord server via the link in the description too. There's a lot of great people who love gaming and make an amazing community in there that I know you'll love being part of. Hope to see you again real soon. Peace out and stay epic, everyone.